Hello, hello, everyone. This is Stacey Thomas with the I Am Stacey. Nope, oops, let's back up. That's the brand, right? It's the Stacey Thomas Unrestricted Unlimited Talk Show. For the new viewers, the reason Stacey has the Unrestricted Unlimited on her talk show is because we can't be put in a box, myself nor my guests, because in this life we have yet to see all that God has for us. And one thing I know, and from meeting the people, the different people that I'm interviewing, we have yet to see all that God has for them. All I know is we need to be excited, right? So today, I've been extra excited ever since I started following this beautiful woman on LinkedIn and Facebook. I have Judge Ashleigh. Um, Forgive me because I'm a little nervous today for some reason. I have Judge Ashleigh with me, and I can't wait to get into it. But I want to tell you a little bit about Judge Ashleigh before I actually ask her to say hello. Judge Ashleigh Parker Dunston is a district court judge in the 10th Judicial District, which encompasses Wake County. Prior to her appointment by Governor Roy Cooper, Judge Dunston served the citizens of North Carolina as an assistant attorney general at the North Carolina Department of Justice and as an assistant district attorney at the Wake County District Attorney's Office. She has been practicing law since she was 24 years old. She is, and I love to say this out loud, everybody, she is the third and the youngest African-American female to hold this position in Wake County since the district courts were established over 50 years ago. Welcome, Doctor. Welcome, Judge Ashleigh.
Hello, thank you so much, Stacey, and happy birthday to you. We celebrate you today on June 3rd.
Thank you, beautiful.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you. You know what? People that watch will probably say Stacey's never been this nervous. I feel like I'm talking to somebody I know I'm talking to somebody who's going to be a part of history one day.
Well, thank you.
And we'll get to that because I want to know what the history books are going to say about you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So to start off, Judge Ashleigh, I want to know, how did you get to this point? Like, when you were a little girl, what were you thinking about? Like, who am I going to be when I grow up?
I thought as a little girl that I was going to be a radiologist. I wanted to be a doctor. Never once saw myself going into the legal profession at all. As a matter of fact, if anything, I would say I ran from it. My dad was a prosecutor, and he was one of the first African Americans to practice on the western side of North Carolina, if not the first African American to do so. Definitely the first African American to be a prosecutor in his office. And so everybody was asking me when I was a little kid, "Are you gonna grow up and be just like your daddy?" And I'm like, no, I'm gonna do my own thing. And my parents always encouraged me to do whatever. My dad told me to be a doctor. He's like, "Don't be a lawyer, be a doctor." So I think whenever parents allow children to be what they want to be or be where they need to be, and let God lead them, then that's where success comes from.
Wow. So you're from North Carolina?
I am born and raised, never left.
Are you the judge? Are you from Wake County?
No, so I'm from Hickory, North Carolina, which is on the western side of the state, and Raleigh is the capital of North Carolina, so it's about 3 hours from home.
Okay. So the little girl grows up, right? And obviously she knows she's very intelligent. She knows she's beautiful. So by the time you get to college, you know for sure what you're going to do?
No. And the little girl grows up not thinking she's beautiful. The little girl grows up thinking that she's not smart. I grew up, like I said, on the western side of the state of North Carolina, and I'm in the South. So of course you're dealing with racism,
Okay.
and I dealt with a lot of that growing up, specifically because I was one of the only, Black kids in my classes. Definitely the Black girl in my class, just completely growing up. I think my elementary school had like 3 Black kids in it, period. And that was because I was moved, because in kindergarten I was accused of cutting a little, or beating up a little white girl or something like that. Whenever I was just defending myself, my mom was like, "No, I need you closer where I can keep an eye on you," as far as making sure that no one blames you for anything that you didn't do. I also remember in kindergarten getting a letter from my very best friend that I still have today that says, "I wish I could invite you to my birthday party, but my mom said you can't come because you're Black." So this was in, the 1990s. I'm a millennial, so, I'm facing these things and dealing with these things. And, my mom and my dad are teaching me very early that, I have to be 10 times better, 20 times better, 100 times better to be taken seriously. And so in high school, I'm taking the classes. Like I said, I'm the only one in my honors classes and in my AP classes. And I remember it was my senior year of high school and still wanting to go to med school. And I told my favorite teacher, who was my English teacher at the time, that I wanted to be, that I wanted to go to Wake Forest University here in Winston-Salem, which is also in North Carolina, which is a pretty prestigious school. And when the white boys that were in the school, that were in my class, when they got accepted, everyone was excited for them. You know, oh my gosh, that's so great. When I told her I wanted to go to Wake Forest, she told me good luck with that. So, yeah.
Judge Ashleigh.
College.
Judge Ashleigh.
Yes.
You're young. How old are you?
I'm 32. 32.
You're 32, and I'm thinking Virginia and North Carolina are two totally different places, because the stories that you're telling are things that my mother said. So even in the 90s, North Carolina had parts where people were very racist.
Oh, they still are. Yeah. Yeah.
They still are.
Yeah.
So even though you had to deal with that, what was it like? What was it that your parents, for other parents that are watching who have smart kids, because I know for my son, because he was in advanced classes, and this isn't about me, but he likes skateboarding and some things, you know, that some of our relatives weren't doing. People made it hard on him. So what did your parents tell you that you didn't give in to all of the racism and the bad comments?
I mean, the main thing was they told me about their own experiences and they educated me on those. So, you know, they desegregated their schools in high school. They were the first to do that and integrate their schools. So they told me about those experiences, the experiences they had growing up, and going to college, and the things that they dealt with. My dad went to college. My mom did not. My mom was a single mother at 18 of my sister. And so just all of those experiences, just really keeping it real with me so that I knew that I wasn't alone, that it wasn't Ashleigh is the problem, understanding that they are the problem. They really encouraged me, you know, told me to feel beautiful, told me to feel smart, not to apologize for who I am. Oh, sorry. And to instill God in me, you know, and keeping me in the church, and praying with me and all of those things. And, you know, honestly, Stacey, it wasn't just the white children, you know, that were prejudiced. I also dealt with the black children as well. You know, even cousins and family members that told me, you know, oh, you think you're all that, you talk like a white girl, and all those things that really made me feel extremely insecure growing up. And so, you know, I'm grateful for my parents who instilled the love of God, that I am his child, that I am created in his image, and just really encouraged me, but also, like I said, kept it real. And that was vital. So I would say that to any parent, you know, be honest with their children about what's going on, let them feel those emotions, have those discussions with them, but then always bring them back to Christ.
Wow. And I don't want to jump too far ahead. I've had people say, Stacey, someone says something and you get distracted. That's only because you make me more curious.
Right.
Okay. So what is it with? It's one thing to deal with racism from a different race. Was it worse coming from your own, your family, your race group?
Absolutely. I think, you know, one thing I love about the Black woman empowerment movement, you know, sisters loving each other, you know, Black women are dope, all of these different movements that are going on. I love them because it's empowering each other. And I feel like for so many years, and I feel like even growing up, that there was a jealousy aspect to women that were doing things or that were different. And now we're uplifting each other. We're empowering each other. We're like, when I see my sister win, we're all winning. And I just think I just love it. It's beautiful. And so anytime I go and talk to young girls, specifically Black girls, I'm like, when your sister wins, you win. You know, this is us uplifting each other. You have enough to deal with in the world because you are Black, because you are female, because you are dual marginalized. That the last thing we need to do is hurting each other and hurting ourselves. So we need to be there for each other. So these sister movements, even what you're doing right now, Stacey, is just amazing. And just the way that we uplift each other, because we need it. It was hard, you know, and I know you can attest. I'm sure there were several instances that you also dealt with But we don't want that for our next generation. We want them loving each other and loving on each other.
Wow. I like you, Judge Ashleigh. No, I'm only kidding. So when you go to Wake, what is it, Wake College?
Forest College or university.
So have you seen that teacher since you've been on this great path?
I have not seen that. But what I do say about that situation is, at that point I was at a crossroads. So I could either not apply because my favorite teacher that I thought believed in me clearly does not, right? And that's why I even tell teachers when I'm, make sure that your comments, that your implicit biases, anything can really negatively affect a child for the rest of their life. Because had I not listened to her, where would I be now? I would not be where God has called me to be had I let her discourage me. But then I said, you know what? I'm going to, because this is what my parents had taught me, I'm going to show her better than I can tell her. And so I went ahead and applied anyway. If I didn't get in, it's a no. Oh, well, that won't be the first or the last. I will live. No's do not stop the train, right? But I got in. And all I did was walk up to her and show that letter and said, I got in. And watch the shock on her face as I walked away. Wow. And I wish her the best, but that was a very pivotal moment for me. And I think that a lot of people don't understand that when we tell our kids or discourage them or, well, maybe you should, well, maybe what's the big deal with just saying, go for it? What does that hurt?
It's something how people will beat your dreams down. And when you have teachers in the school system, they're actually supposed to be there to motivate and help the students, And it's sad that you have individuals that they'll beat a child's dreams down and the child won't be any good for the rest of their life because they trusted the teacher.
That's it. And it's crazy. I was on the phone or on Zoom call on Sunday with a young lady that's in one of the northern states that wanted to just ask me questions. And I'm always welcome for anyone to ask any questions about how to deal with situations or, race issues or sexism issues. And she was asking me, she said, well, what should I do about my school counselor? She said she continues to put me or give me lists of colleges that I don't think, I want to go to these Ivy Leagues and I have, big dreams on the schools I want to go to. And she keeps giving me these lists. I said, you apply where you want to go. You do not, whether she means to or not, she is not going to stifle your dreams or stifle your potential. So you apply for, yes, I definitely tell students, apply for schools you're absolutely going to get in. Apply for schools that, you probably likely will. And then definitely reach for the stars. But the ones that you want that are like the star schools that you absolutely really want to get into, apply early for those. Get into that early admission program to see if you can get those scholarships, which are usually done early. But also you'll know whether or not you got in to see if you even need to waste money on the school that you may not necessarily want to go to. But then also just remaining open.
You were involved. Maybe it's the deadline is passed. I saw you were promoting something for the graduates of 2020 that were going to attend college. What was that all about?
So that was an event that the Phi Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha here in Raleigh, North Carolina is hosting. It's this Saturday. Registration passed last week, but this Saturday where they are, it's the Black Scholars Virtual Signing Day. It's virtual this year, obviously, but we're just to celebrate Black graduates that are going to college or going to the military, just to celebrate them for what they're doing and acknowledging them for being our ancestors' wildest dreams.
Wow. So being an African-American woman, and we haven't even gotten to where I want to take this, and you're very intelligent and you're doing a lot of things, right? When people look at you, and there's always going to be jealous people. There's always going to be people that hate on you. But I guess for someone like you, is it okay to say, don't get mad at you, blame it on God?
Absolutely. People ask me, well, how did you get to where you got? How did you do it at age 30? How did you pull all these things off? I said, it's nothing but God. That's the only way, period. It's not Ashleigh. It's not me. His steps were ordained for my life from the very beginning. I have fought him time and time again, not trying to do what he wanted me to do, obviously, but he is amazing. And if you literally trust him, even through those dark times, he will lead your path. So absolutely.
So, and in college, you pledged AKA?
I did.
So you lived a normal life, a college life, and still kept your grades good, huh?
I did. It was, and it's a predominantly white school, very, very limited, not a lot of Black students, but made some really amazing friends there, Black and white. Learned how to, I won't say play the game really, but I mean, it's very similar to high school and middle school and elementary school. So, understanding both sides of it and getting and understanding and getting a preview into what my ultimate field would be like. Understanding that there's only 2% of African-American females that are lawyers in the profession. So
there's your sorrow sister. Am I saying it correctly?
Hello, Dr. Cassandra Conover.
I have to I mentioned earlier to you, I don't know. It's nothing against any other sororities because I love you guys, but it's something with these AKAs on this show.
Something about it.
I am being blessed. She's from Commonwealth Fraternity of Petersburg, and she's doing some great things. I'm just blessed, I guess. I'm blessed, and I thank you guys. But so when you were dating, did you date a lot in college? No. So before you met your husband, being in the position you were as far as going to school, studying a lot, determined to pursue your dreams, was it hard dating? Like today, conversation pops up. Women say it's hard to find a good man because they feel inferior to the women. Right.
That's a great question. I met my husband my second semester of my 2L year. So that'd be my second year of law school. I would say previous relationships, I don't know if I talked to them about what they would say, but I would say there was that inferiority complex or that, not really sure, not really wanting to support me in what I was trying to do. But with him, it was weird because we met and he said to me, I think very early on, I had this dream because he's a videographer. He's like, I had this dream, I was doing a commercial for you and you were running for judge and I was supporting your campaign. Now I'm in law school, I never wanted to be a judge. Let's be clear.
He said that?
He did. He prophesied it over my life, in 2011. When we had first met, and I was just like, "You're crazy! I'm just trying to get through law school. I'm just trying to pass the bar. I'm just trying to do one thing at a time." I'm like, "You are nuts." But I think that for any woman, number one, recognizing our worth. Number two, finding a man, and I would say, or let him find you, right? Because he's supposed to find you. That speaks over your life, that believes in you, that believes in God's calling in your life, and wants to support you, and vice versa. That you want to support him as well. And so I think, in that period of time, we were both just growing and learning each other. We've now been married 8 years. But just when you're, at the end of the day, there's a lot of things I had to change because I am a very strong woman. I might be a judge in the courtroom, but I'm not at home. At home, I'm a mom and a wife. And, so you have to switch those roles. And that was a balance in learning that. So if you're a strong woman, it's a balance in those things, but definitely picking up a book or talking to friends or, therapy or whatever else that's helpful for you. But at the end of the day, you don't need to change who you are or change your career path or diminish your light for any man. If anything, they should want to brighten your light.
Wow. Can you give some of the women, maybe our viewers, an example? Like you said that it's okay to be you. Right. Mm-hmm. But you said you've also learned you didn't drop everything you wanted. But for the strong women out there that think that this man has to accept me for who I am, blah, 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 blah. I've got a girlfriend that says, somebody's got to be the boss in the house. How do you let the women know it's okay to, what word would you use? Maybe just let him be the man a little bit.
It's masculine energy and feminine energy. And if anybody doesn't know what that is, definitely YouTube that or Google that. It is extremely helpful as far as, yes, you're like, well, somebody has to be the boss. Why not him?
That's right.
And why can't you trust that and allowing him to do so? And, with anything, I feel like a relationship and a marriage is, I analogize it to puzzle pieces, right? And so you have the shapes that fit into another one. And so, my weaknesses are his strengths. And so I need to allow him to drive in his strengths and to grow me in those areas that he's stronger in and that I'm weaker in. And then the same thing, vice versa, that my strengths are his weaknesses and, him allowing me to help him. I mean, it's a team effort. So when you talk about the boss or those kind of things, or you have an issue with, submission, I think submission can be done mutually. Whenever you're keeping God as the head, we're submitting to him. And so the order that he has, of course, is the man and then the woman. But, it's a team effort of us coming together and glorifying him through our relationship. And so, if you feel like you just have to be this one certain way, then maybe you need to take some time for self-awareness, to realize what your weaknesses are and how that person can help you through those.
Wow. You know what? You really should do this, but you can wait until after you retire. You need a talk show for the women.
I hear you.
So, what's your it and what's your passion?
So my passion, my career is one thing, which I love. I love what I do. I love the fact that I'm helping people every day. I thank God for that. But my passion is helping people through meeting them in person, doing things like this, speaking at events, speaking to our youth, empowering them, telling my story, to let people know that there are ups and there are downs, but you can definitely make it through. Obviously, not everyone is destined for this particular path, but you're destined for your path. And like I said, allowing God to lead you through that and trusting Him. I'm just a living witness of that, and I just think it's just amazing to see what God has for us.
Did this position pick you, or did you pick it?
It picked me.
It picked you.
It did.
And how did you feel when it picked you before you actually got it?
Well, when I went to law school, so, I eventually, second semester, junior year of college, finally said, God, clearly this is what you have for me. I need to stop running. All right. I've been running. God was like, stop running. And so I applied for law school, and I wanted to go to the North Carolina Central University School of Law at the because I just love my school. And it's in Durham, North Carolina. It's the only HBCU law school in North Carolina. My dad attended there and my cousin attended there. And so for me, that was the only choice. And I knew I wanted to be a public servant, and that's what they specialize in. And so I ended up going to Central, graduated, and I became a district attorney at the Wake County DA's office, as you said in my bio. But at the time, I was the only African-American female here in Wake County, which is Raleigh, North Carolina, the capital of North Carolina. And I was the only African-American female out of 45 attorneys in that office. And so once again, I'm back being the only one, which is fine because I understood that the prosecutor is the most important person in the courtroom as far as the power that they have, the discretion that they have. They can dismiss every single case and the judge will never see it. They're the ones that issue out plea deals and should be doing that, the same way. They can, what they're asking for needs to be done fairly. So, it was a very important role where I felt like I could really be hands-on with the people, follow in my dad's footsteps. And what ended up happening was I'm standing there, and it was literally like I looked down the audience, and the whole audience looked like me, just African Americans in the audience. And I looked up on the bench, and I saw me standing there, and I looked up on the bench, and I did not see any African American female representation. We had one African American female judge out of 19 here in Wake County, and she did family law. She's amazing. She's still there. And we didn't have anybody in criminal court. And I was like, that's a problem. And it was literally like God said, Ashleigh, I've called you to that. And I said, no, God, I'm good. I'm fine right here. I'm fine right here. And He said, no, I called you to that. And so that's how that kind of started. And so I went and found mentors, spoke to the other African-American judges at the time. We had 3 Black males and then the one African-American female out of 19. So I spoke to them, and they mentored me and, helped me through that process and gave me guidance over the next 5 years until I was ultimately appointed to the bench.
You're going to make me cry. I guess it's not that I thought it was easy for you. By no means. I expected you to talk about how hard school was and college was. I never thought you'd touch on the race issue. I understand English. I understood the statement when I read it, third and youngest African-American female. And I left it off the banner. But it had to be, you're saying it's God, because I guess in my opinion, it had to be because when you walk in and you see nobody else like you doing what you do, does fear ever enter? Did it ever enter?
It was a lot of different emotions, honestly, Stacey. I mean, from fear that I don't want to mess up, from fear of disappointment, from fear of looking like I'm too biased for one side or the other when I'm just trying to be impartial, right? The fear of being seen as an angry Black woman, whereas a white male might be seen as passionate.
Yes.
So all of those different things. And then on top of that, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I, am I getting this right? Because that's the only thing I want to do. And even as a judge, I want to get it right. And so that's a level of stress, a different level of stress. But when I say it's nothing but God, I mean, even in the process of becoming a judge, there were so many people that did not want me in this position, still don't want me in this position, that we're like, who are you? You are too young. You're too inexperienced. You're unqualified for this position. Who qualified you for this position? I said, God qualified me for this position. That's the only qualification.
Wow. So what did your dad say, being as though he was in law?
He had run several times in our county for judge. He'd run for DA, and it was never successful. So, I say all the time, I stand on his shoulders, watching him campaign, watching him go through the defeats that he went through, people saying, we've got your back, knowing his heart, knowing that he was there to dole out, wanted to change that system, to really provide true justice to everyone. And was unsuccessful in doing that. And, why God, and, did I feel like you called me to this and it wasn't happening? But he said it all happened for this time. It happened for you to stand on my shoulders, to do this, to accomplish this. So I'm so grateful for every sacrifice, every defeat that he went through, every tear that he cried, that opened up every single door for me.
Wow. Judge Ashleigh, it takes a lot to do what you're doing. Your first time on the bench. I want to know, like, the first day sitting up there, what were you thinking? What were you feeling?
Well, I was overwhelmed, honestly. I mean, especially at my swearing in, I was extremely overwhelmed because, Stacey, even my journey to the bench was not easy. As far as the first time I went and put my name in the hat for the position, I didn't get it. I caught one of my mentors moved up. So typically with a vacancy, those occur because a judge is retired or they have been promoted to another court. So what happened was our Black Superior Court judge, male Judge Justice Morgan, is now a Supreme Court justice. He won his election. And so my mentor, Judge Rozier, ended up going to the Superior Court bench. And so his seat became open. And so, like I said, we've been working on this for 5 years now. So he called me and he said, Ashleigh, are you ready? And I was like, oh my God, I'm 29. Are you serious? He's like, I was 29. Like, it's time. And I was like, okay, here we go. And I was like, okay, God, game time. I've left the DA's office, which was my dream job, to go to the Attorney General's office to get more experience because I figured I might be young, but I knew I had to have more experience than the regular person, right? So I was like, okay, let me get this experience. So, I'm like, okay, God, I've been working in the community, which I had been doing anyway and love to do, but I was just like, I think this is it. So I go out there, and the way it works is that all of the attorneys in Wake County would vote for you, and then the top 5 names would go to the governor. So at this point, there's 5,600 attorneys in Wake County, and there was probably 19 people that put their name into the hat or into the vote for the election. And so I got second in the bar vote, and so my name went to the governor's office. So I was super excited. I'm, rallying around, and this is when I'm starting to hear the things about, oh, she's too young. I don't know about her. I don't know if she would do a good job. All of this, riffraff. And so,
did that motivate you any?
It did, but it also scared me because I was just like, this is, you put yourself out there. This is your career, right? This is what you've been working towards, and you're just like, and you don't want to fail. That's the fear of failure, obviously. But anytime you put yourself out there, anytime you take a risk, you're scared of failure. And so I, like I said, got second. And I'll never forget, it was Memorial Day weekend, so a couple weeks ago, 2017, and I did not get the appointment. The governor's office called me and said, we decided to give it to someone else. And Stacey, I was devastated, girl. I remember I was on my couch just crying, just pitiful all weekend long, and just questioning God, like, why did you put me out there for this to happen? Like, I was fine where I was doing what I was doing. If it wasn't the time, you should have just told me, like, why did you have me go through this?
Okay.
And so I thank God for good friends, for good family, for my husband, for my parents that were just like, Ashleigh, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and at the end of the day, God laid on my heart. He said, Ashleigh, run for it. Go for election because we're elected here. And he said, I said, fine. If they won't give it to me, I'll take it. And it just goes back to that time with that teacher that I was like, I'm at this crossroads where I can pick one road to say I'm going to give up, or I can pick the other road to say I'm going to go forward.
Mhm.
So I went ahead and I formed my campaign. Now, this is a whole year and a half advance. Like, nobody does this, but I was like, oh, I'm going in, right? Like, I'm going to happen. So I go ahead and I start campaigning. And the day after I launched my campaign, so I post everything on my Facebook, and I'm like, I just want to let you know I'm running for judge in 2018. Get ready. The very next day after I launched my campaign, one of the district court judges retires out of nowhere. Completely.
Okay.
Completely out of the blue. So at this point, I'm like, really, God? Like, really? And I was like, you know what? I don't even want to do it. I'm going to go ahead and run a campaign like I've been doing. I'm not putting my name back in the hat. I'm not putting myself back up for failure. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And that's why you got to have good people in your corner. You don't have time for negative Nancy's, right?
Thank you.
You don't have time. Eliminate them now.
Uh-huh.
And my good people said, Ashleigh, if it's about you and your pride, then don't put your name back in the hat. But this is about God and what he's called you to do. You will do everything in your power to help the people of Wake County if that's what you're truly about. And I said, you know what? You're right. Because my pride was shot. I was hurt, And they said, Ashleigh, you will do everything in your power. I said, okay, I'll put my name back in the hat. I'm going to keep running, but I'll put my name back in the hat. So I put my name in the hat, and I won that election by 7 votes.
Okay.
The number 7. The number of completion. And I said, God, it's up to you at this point. I'm just going to keep doing what you call me to do. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep grinding, but, do your will. Whatever your will be done, I'm okay with that. I trust you, God. And sure enough, on November the 3rd, 2017, the governor called me and said, will you be Wake County's next district court judge? So all of this began in February 2017, all the way to November 2017. So my first day, to answer your question, my first day was so overwhelming. I was so humbled to be there because there was so many times that year I didn't feel like I was. But here's the thing. The seat that I wanted the February seat that I wanted that I did not get, that appointment was only for a year and a half. The appointment that I ended up getting in November was for 3 years.
Look at God.
When he up a better one, he didn't want that one for me. He wanted this one for me. And had I not trusted him, I would not be here today.
Wow. It's something when you can, you have a powerful story. So you get on the bench. Am I saying it correctly? You're sitting up there, right? And an African-American person comes up. Are you already ready for that because of your past employment, or is it different being up there?
I would say it is, my hope is that with me being there, that it restores some sort of justice in the system, that it restores some type of hope in that system, that even a little girl that's sitting in the audience is looking at me and saying, I can do that too. That's just what I'm hoping in just my presence. But then also in my interactions with people, in, making sure that I'm respectful, making sure that I'm keeping it real at the same time, but letting them understand that I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to help you. Right. Let's talk through this process, because one thing for me is I understand that jail is not for everyone. Right. Probation is not for everyone, and fines are not for everyone. So let's sit and have a dialogue and treat you as an individual, not just a case number, to understand what we can do as a team. All of us, the attorneys, your attorney, the prosecutor, me, the victim, the witness, whoever, how can we figure out to make sure that you're not back here again? How do we put in these preventative steps, restorative justice to make sure, and rehabilitative justice to make sure that you are set on the right path? So if that means if we need to do some substance abuse assessment and treatment, some mental health assessment and treatment, whatever else we need to do for you as an individual, let's take the time to figure that out so that you can be successful.
Please forgive my ignorance when it comes to the court system. The judge, when there are no jurors, mm-hmm. the judge has to make the decision, right?
Yes.
What do you do? What do you do?
At the district court level in North Carolina, and so yes, we are the final say. We don't have juries except for some civil trials, but as far as criminal and family court matters and all of that, juvenile court matters, we are the final say. number one, lean on God. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. Every morning I get up, I get into my word. I need to have that peace, right? I'm playing gospel music on my way in. Everybody can say whatever they want to say. You got to find what works for you as far as self.
That's right. That's right.
Right. You know, I'm in the parking day, like, okay, get it. Because it's extremely stressful. Like you said, wanting to get it right. But yes, I am. And my job is not to do what Ashleigh thinks, right? So there have been several times I've said, look, Ashleigh thinks you're guilty. I know you were drunk that day and driving, right? We can tell.
Okay.
However, was the state able to prove it today under the law? Were they able to meet their burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt? No, they were not. So for that reason, I'm finding you not guilty. So, you know, you have to differentiate between what you think versus what the law says. I have sworn an oath to follow the law, and the law is blind. The law is doled out equally, you know, not dependent on your race, not dependent on your gender, not dependent on how much money you have, not dependent on your creed, none of those things. And so with that, when I follow the law, it doesn't matter what color you are. It matters on what the facts are and what they're able to prove that day. And so I think that when that is done, then people at the end of the day may not agree with your decision, but if they feel like they've been heard and they feel like it was done fairly, then they can respect that decision.
Okay. So I saw on your website, you said, I pride myself on being real. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, real, respectful, efficient. The A is active in the community, and L learned in the law. And I think it takes every single, and also just being real, just what it means, being real.
Okay.
You know, like when I'm talking to families and letting them know, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we're talking about some type of domestic violence dispute or a custody matter, or, you know, a divorce or child support, whatever type of like matter like that, you know, having that extra time to talk to them to say, listen, how is this affecting the children that are in this? You know, when the children are pulling off parents, you know, because the two of you just keep coming back together and you know that this relationship is toxic. You know, whenever you're asking the child and questioning them about the other parent's household, or you're talking junk about them and their spouse, you know, how are you really setting up this child for anything but manipulation? You know, having those real conversations, and myself, as my husband has a child that he had prior to our marriage. And so, you know, I'm a bonus parent myself. And so I don't mind keeping it real with them and saying, yes, I have my 4-year-old, that's our child together. And then I have my 9-year-old, or almost 10-year-old. And so you have to come together for that family. You have to be team that child. You absolutely set them up for failure in the long term. And I never want to see children ending up in my juvenile courtrooms, ever. You know, so as parents, so I think that's an example of how I think that I keep it real.
Wow, that caught my attention too, because the show's unrestricted and unlimited, and I don't want phony people coming on. I like real people, and when I saw that, I said, "Oh, it's meant to be, Stacey. Send her an email." So when the history books are written, and your name's in the history books, what do you think? No, what do you want it to say about you?
I wanted to say, first of all, that she did what God called her to do. For me, if, you know, I said that if I was a judge for only 3 years, I was going to make the biggest difference that I could in those 3 years. This year, I'm up for election in 2020. So thankfully, thank God, I don't have any opposition. So I have another 4 years.
Okay.
But just during that, if that's the end, then that's the end. If God has something more for me, then I'm open to that, you know. But in this period of time, what has she done with her platform? I think is what I want people to say about me. You know, did she talk about race? Did she talk about sexism? Did she talk about natural hair in the profession, which I have, and did she touch lives in a positive way? Did she restore hope in the justice system? Did she set the right example? That would be what I would want. Did she inspire someone? And I'm grateful for all those that have inspired me. And did she reach back like others have reached back for her? That's what I wanted to say.
Are you excited to know that you're going to be in the history books?
I haven't thought about it, and I don't know what book I'll be in, but I hear you, girl.
You're going to be in the history books. And you say, you touched base on something else. You have natural hair.
Oh yeah.
Has anyone ever frowned?
Oh yeah. So that's another story. How much time do you have, Stacey?
Go ahead.
All right. So, when I did not have natural hair, all the way up until I left the DA's office, and I didn't feel comfortable in the DA's office because it's an at-will employment place. So, being the only African-American female, I had my hair black and I had it straight and had like a half wig in and relaxed because I did not feel like I could wear, I didn't want to stand out any more than I already did.
Okay.
Being only black female, right?
Okay.
So I had a blend, like I had on my life pretty much, blend in to make people feel comfortable, right? And so when I left there and I went to the Attorney General's office, at this point, I became a permanent state employee. So now you got to have just cause to let me go. And just cause doesn't mean that you may not like how I look, right?
Okay.
So I'm in this office with all of these dynamic Black women. I mean, we're talking 500, attorneys in there. And just on my floor alone, I've got 4 or 5 with dreadlocks and natural hair and braids and whatever else they want to do. And I felt so empowered by them that literally 2 months after I started, I cut all my hair off, big chopped it, girl, and dyed it blonde. It was like this color blonde. I mean, it was long. And I just felt so empowered. I just felt like I was finally free. That confidence that I needed, that I had at that point to just be me and be who I was. So at that point, I became natural. I've been natural almost 6 years now in November. And so I constantly, so fast forward to my first day on the bench that you were talking about.
Okay.
And my first day, I wore my hair out in a wash and go. And I did that intentionally because at this point now, there's 10 Black women and Black men and women in the Wake County DA's office at this point. So I'm super grateful for that. But I wanted to make sure that they didn't feel like how I felt. So I wanted to make sure that they saw my hair from the bench, that I normalized natural hair in our profession and that it started from the bench. So I wore my hair in a wash and go. And ever since then, every month my hair has changed. I've had cornrows, I've had crochets like I have them right now. I'll have braids, every month is something different. I've received comments, I like your hair better that way. I like your hair better straight than I do, whenever it's just out and it's just mine. I don't like your hair as much as, that style. I didn't ask you. I have another judge that's like, and he's all well-intentioned, but he's just like, you switch your hair up so much, I can't tell if it's you. Does it change with your mood? I said, you better hope not. I'm just normalizing Black hair. Our hair is beautiful. Our hair is versatile. Our hair is ours. So I did an article for Wake County Bar Flyer. That's all the lawyers in Wake County. So at this point, there's like 5,800 that can read it. And in that flyer, I had 7 Black women, all with our hair in different styles, all natural, different hairstyles. And we talked about, and the title of it was My Crown is Professional, and how we want to normalize, and just talked about our experiences of having Black hair or not feeling comfortable with our hair. And I can send you these articles, Stacey. I did another one.
Oh, so I don't have to write it down. Okay.
I did another one with sexism in the courtroom, and I'll email them to you.
Okay.
But just to see, and when you see these pictures, Stacey, I mean, it was all of us in the courtroom, just powerful Black women, just rocking our hair. And so, yeah, I am just all about that. I've done some paint and sips because I really want the Crown campaign to come to North Carolina, similar to what's happening in California and New York, where we can stop discrimination about natural hair. So I've done some paint and sips on natural hair to increase the awareness of that law, so that no other woman would feel like how I felt, that they can't be them or that their hair is unprofessional or unkept. We've got to change that dynamic. We've got to normalize our Black, beautiful hair.
I know that's right. So you're traveling, your people are booking you, you're available for booking?
I am. I mean, I don't know what's going on with the coronavirus, but if you would like me to come out and speak to your group or to your college or to your church or whatever, I'm virtual now, but I'm definitely open to travel and love traveling and encouraging and doing whatever is necessary to standard.
And is that correct? To book her, go to www.judgeashleigh.com?
Yes. And there's a booking link at the top, so they can just fill out that form and I'll get back in touch with you as soon as possible. Okay.
And is there anything, because I don't want you to ever think I'm rushing you because I like to talk. But
You're fine.
Is there anything that I didn't touch base on that you want to share or speak about?
Well, like I said, happy birthday again. We're just thankful that God gave you another year. Thank you for this show and for having me on here as well. Allowing me another opportunity to tell my story. It never gets old to me because God is just constantly, he's just amazing. But what I will say is that with everything that's going on right now with George Floyd, with Ahmaud, with Breonna, as someone that is in the system, of course, my heart is absolutely broken. And to be completely candid with you, you're trying to effectuate the change, and then you're wondering, am I doing anything? Am I really making a difference? When you see those type of instances, and then you're reminded that you are, and that we all are, and that we all can. And so it's just so important to make sure that we're voting for our judges at the local leadership level, if that's something that you can do in your state, that you're voting for your legislators who are making these laws, that you're voting for your prosecutors, your DAs that effectuate these charges, that you're voting for your mayors who hire these police chiefs and designate them, that you're voting for your sheriffs, that you are providing that accountability. And so it's just so powerful for me to see these protests and to see what's happening in our country. And so I just want us as African Americans to continue the fight, but also continue to encourage our young people to become a part of this system. Encourage our young people to become attorneys and police officers and clerks and detention officers and probation officers, because there's no time that we're ever going to not be a part of the system, whether we're defendants or whether we're victims. You never know when you're going to end up a part of that. But if we want to see the change, we have to be the change. And that means infiltrating the system. And that means getting in here and making sure that we are fair, that we are just every single day. So just knowing that when people feel like there's no hope, there are people out here that care, and we are trying our best, and we'll continue to try our best to do what needs to get done to ensure that justice is equal for all.
Judge Ashleigh, I bet there's a lot of people uncomfortable with your boldness, your intelligence, your beauty, just you. But that's not going to affect how you continue to carry yourself and stand, huh?
Man, I don't look like your standard judge, and I don't care.
That's okay. That's okay. You're beautiful. You're intelligent.
Thank you.
Huh?
I said I walk in God's boldness. That's all I need. I don't have to submit to the worldly views of anything. But thank you so much.
And before you leave, can I say a couple more things about you, let the viewers know?
Sure.
Because if you guys haven't decided to look her up or follow her or think about moving to Wake County so you can vote for her in 4 years, know this. She's been recognized as National Black Lawyers Top 100 North Carolina Top 40 Under 40 2020. Black Catawba
Yes, ma'am. That's my
County, Catawba County Honoree, Hickory, North Carolina 2019. Jabby, Jabby Inc. International Trailblazer Award, Atlanta, Georgia 2019. Participant of educational seminar in Israel for Northeast and Southeast African American leaders, sponsored by the American Israel Education Foundation 2019. American Council of Young Political Leaders, delegate to Ethiopia and Kenya 2019. City of Raleigh Fair Housing Hearing Board Leadership Award 2018. The Sports Shop Radio Show Salute to Champion Awards 2017. 10th Judicial District Professionalism Committee Spotlight Award 2017. Unsung Banquet Contemporary Achievement Award 2017. Victoria's Praise Church's Community Hero Award 2017. NCCU Alumni 40 Under 40 Honoree 2016. Judge Ashleigh, not that you need me to be, but I'm so proud of you. I have to ask, before I let you go, the foreign countries, you didn't tell us about that.
Yes, ma'am. It was, so the Israel trip was in January of 2019. So, and that was just amazing opportunity to learn about Israel, to walk where Jesus walked, to see where he was crucified, at least where they believe he was crucified. The stairs where he flipped tables over. And that's one of my biggest things. You know what I mean? Sometimes if we don't have a seat at the table, we have to make us pull up a seat. And then just every now and then, we got to flip that table over. And I just think about Jesus flipping tables over in that market. And that inspires me that there are some times that we need to do that. So, Israel was amazing, and to be there with other African American leaders from all across the East Coast, from New York all the way down to Alabama, was just a phenomenal experience. And then in November, I went as a delegate to Ethiopia and Kenya, which was, oh my gosh, I'd never been to Africa before, never thought I would. And it was just amazing to see other people that look like me everywhere in all leadership positions was just, oh, so inspiring. But then also to interact with their judges there and to talk to them and to answer their questions and figure out how they can, their justice system is a little different. And so just trying to end corruptness and just seeing people with just great hearts, and then also talking to their young college leaders and their young women there, and just trying to inspire them. And they were inspiring me, and we're hugging and crying it out. And it was just, Ethiopia and Kenya was just, it was amazing, amazing experience.
Wow. So once again, if they need to contact you, go to your website.
Yes.
You are indeed unrestricted, unlimited. You should not be put in a box. And you probably already know this, but I'm going to say this. If you've done all that you've done and you're so young, just wait to see what God has for you. You're getting all of this under your belt. Big things, history books. Remember me, I may want to ask you to come back on the show.
Anytime, Stacey. Anytime.
I'm wishing you the very best.
Thank you so much.
I have some people from Carolina that's on my page. If you need a platform to speak on something or talk about something, the door is always open. Please feel free to say, Stacey, I want to come back on the show, okay?
Well, thank you so much, Stacey. I appreciate you. Let me know if you ever need anything as well. Thank you so much, and happy birthday.
Thank you, beautiful. Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. I'm blessed with another great show. I know they're going to say, Stacey, don't act like this on your show. Thank you for watching the Stacey Thomas Unrestricted Unlimited Talk Show. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. And please do follow Judge Ashleigh on Facebook. If you are interested in booking her, the website is on here. Please look her up. And until next time, don't stress too much about yesterday or worry too much about tomorrow, because if you do, you just might miss living today. Thank you.